Hello everyone, this is going to be a very quick video just to follow up on commenting out your code. Now we've been doing this because comments are so handy. I just want to kind of formally talk about how you can comment out your code. I'm going to go back over to VS Code right here, and this is the code that we wrote in the last lesson when we were talking about comments, and you can see we've already got some comments in here. So one great use of comments is to just put notes to yourself in code. So sometimes we add these comments so that you can remind yourself of what the code is doing when you're learning. You generally want to leave comments if there's like some really tricky code, and for beginners a lot of it is very tricky, so I encourage you to put a lot of comments in your code so that you know what it's doing. The other reason you might want to comment your code is you may want to prevent some of it from executing. So here what I'll do is, it looks like we're declaring the say hello function, and then we're invoking it 2 times. So it's going to execute all the code in the say hello function 2 times right here. If I wanted to only execute that function once, or invoke or call the function only once, I could go ahead and comment out this line by putting in 2 forward slashes, and you can see that VS Code makes all the comments green so that they're easy to see here. And then there is a shortcut, and I've already mentioned this, but I'll mention it again. But if you want to comment out a line, you can do Control/, okay? And now that will actually toggle the comments for the line. So if I do the same keystroke again, Control/, it'll remove the comments if they're there. So that's a good little trick for toggling comments for a line. Okay, now we've already been doing all this stuff, but I want to show you some new things that I haven't told you about. Now, if you want to comment out a whole bunch of lines, it looks like this. I'm just going to scroll up to the top right at the beginning of our script element, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. The syntax is a little bit different. So you start the comment with a / and an asterisk, and then I'm just going to hit enter a few times here and leave a blank line. And then you can end the comment with the reverse of those 2 characters. So asterisk /. What that means is anything that's in between those 2 lines right there is going to be treated as a comment. So the nice thing about that is that's how you can create multi-line comments. So I'll just say this is a, and then I'm going to hit enter so that it makes it multi-line comment. Okay, so that's kind of nice if you know, maybe you paste in a paragraph of notes that you got off the web or something. You can put those in comments by putting that syntax before all the lines and that syntax after all the lines. So that's what we call a multi-line comment. Okay, now there's one last thing I want to talk about real quick here, and that's the way that professional programmers document their code officially. So I've got my web page here that goes along with this video, and I just want to scroll down to it here. And here's the example that I want to show you. So here is our convert to Fahrenheit function that we created in the last lesson. And what I did is I added some comments to it. Now this is not VS Code, so the comments are showing up in gray. This is a web page, so it's not in VS Code. It color codes comments a little bit differently here. But and we don't really need to get into this. This is kind of too far ahead for us right now, but I just want to show it to you so that you're aware of it. But when you create a multi-line comment and you include that extra asterisk for the opening comment line, then it gets treated in a special way here. So there's the difference. This multi-line comment has the extra asterisk right there. Okay, now there's a whole new syntax for this. But what you can do is you can put a brief description of what the function does. So here it converts temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit, and then you can document the parameters and the return value. So here, and this is the syntax that you can use for this type of documentation, but if you want to document a parameter, you use that @param, and then you can specify the data type that the parameter is supposed to be. So we're supposed to pass in a number when we call this function, and then the parameter is named temp Celsius, and then over here you can give a quick description of the parameter if you want. Okay, and here it's documenting the return value. So here's the syntax for doing that. And then here's the data type that gets returned. It returns a number and then a description of it. Okay, now the cool thing about this is if you comment your code like this, and now officially programmers, when you're out there in the field working, you would want to put comments like this for every function in your program. Okay, so it's usually the functions that we document here. But what you can do is there are tools that you can use that will generate official documentation for your code. So that's what I did with this function. I used an online tool and I just pasted my code in there along with the comments, and it generated something that looks like this down here. Now it's kind of hard to see, but this is those comments. I ran them through a tool, and I gave you the link below for what that tool was in case you want to mess around with it. But this is the documentation that they created. So it's kind of hard to tell here because this is just one function. But a program in the real world you might write thousands of functions. So what you get is a big, huge documentation for all of those functions, and then good developers will figure out how to use your functions by looking at this documentation. But these comments right here got turned into this documentation that you see right here. So it just gives other programmers information about how to use the functions, what parameters they need to pass in, and some other notes so that they can understand how the functions work. Okay, so that's going to do it for this video, and I just wanted to get that one out of the way because we will be using comments a lot. We won't be doing the dot comments like these last ones I show you, but we will be using single line and multi-line comments a lot.